The sensation of hearing. The ear. Mr. Emmer explained it in further detail, so I'm just going to hit the basics of it. The sound waves enter into the ear canal and head towards the middle ear, where the eardrum and bones send it to the cochlea, which further passes it onto the brain to be interpreted. Sound, otherwise known as auditory stimulation, is when motions and movements cause molecules in waves producing sound. Hertz, the rate at which sound moves or sound waves hit your eardrum in a second. Decibels, the measurement used to measure how loud a sound is. 1 hertz is equal to 1 wavelength per second. 0 decibels is equal to the lowest audio humans can hear. Sound waves also help us locate where sounds are coming from. Loudness in pitches. Place theory. Place theory says that pitch is determined by where sound waves hit the wall of the basilar membrane. Frequency theory says that in order for us to be able to interpret and hear frequencies, we need to match those frequencies, as in our ears need to change kind of where they are set at. Volley principle says that all receptors fire in volleys between a couple hundred to a couple thousand times per second, determining pitches. I like to think of this as a stand full of people doing the wave. So it starts in one spot and then continues onward into the ear. Hearing loss and its impact on psychological development. Conductive hearing loss caused by damage to the outer and middle ear. Conductive hearing loss is often found on job sites and places where loud noises and long exposure to noises is found. Sensorial neural hearing loss caused by damage to the inner ear can also be found from long exposure to loud noises, but can also be a genetic thing and a hereditary thing. Impacts on children. Hearing impairments on children can be extremely challenging, as they can both cause physical and psychological development issues. Hearing impairments in children can lead to the child thinking that they're in some form or way messed up, dumb, or stupid, when in reality they have just not received the proper medical attention they need. Physical impediments can be such as they need speech therapy because they couldn't hear certain sounds when they were younger and learning to talk. It can also be interactions and so forth. Impacts on adults. Adults tend to be more confused and they feel like they have lost a part of their identity. As they grew up with sound, they created relationships with their families and friends and such, and that they feel when they've lost that sense of hearing, their sense of identity and the concreteness of being to understand those as well goes with it. This can often lead to patients going through the grieving process, so they go through denial, then they could possibly isolate themselves, and then they get angry about it, and then they try and bargain with it, saying, okay, maybe if I do this or this or this, it'll get better. And then the final stage of grief is depression. They're thinking, oh, I never enjoyed hearing anyway. Is what it is. Can't change it. Or adults that grew up with hearing impediments, they will bring the traumas from their childhood that I talked about earlier not being able to have those social interactions and such, they'll bring that into their adult lives, and it'll manifest in frustration and cause problems at work and other things. Those are the sources I used, and thank you for listening to this presentation.